So, welcome to episode 5 of our 14-day Japan family adventure. Today we're in Kyoto, one of Japan's most beautiful and historic cities. Can you really see Kyoto in just one day? We gave it a try with our family, and we're going to share what worked, what didn't, and the big lessons we learned along the way. So, we left Osaka super early and caught the train towards Kyoto. Here's a little hack. Instead of getting off at Kyoto Station like most people, go one more stop to Inari Station. You'll step off the train right at the entry to Fushimi Inari Shrine. We left at like 5 in the morning to get there. We arrived at 6, and with a private driver booked from 8, it worked out perfect. It was one of the best decisions of our whole trip. The shrine was empty and we had the famous red Torii gates practically to ourselves. It was awesome. Walking through thousands of gates in the soft morning light was incredible. Quiet, peaceful, something we'll never forget. The path winds up the mountain with smaller shrines and fox statues along the way. You don't need to go all the way to the top to enjoy it. Even just walking part way gives you that full experience, so you can sort of turn left before going all the way up. So by the time we were leaving, crowds were starting to pour in, but we had already finished and could ask our driver to meet us up at 8 a.m. That early start meant we ticked off one of Kyoto's biggest attractions before most people had even finished their breakfast. It was such a good idea, especially if you want to fit everything in one day. Now I'm going to get this in early and just let everyone know. I recommend probably staying a few days in Kyoto is probably better for most people, but don't be turned off taking a day trip if you've never been to Japan. Our plan for all of our trip in Japan was simple. We wanted to see as much of the country in case we never got back, and we just wanted to get a feeling for each place, and that's what we achieved. So we were happy with this plan. Just make it for yourselves and enjoy the experience, whatever you make it. The paths here wind up Mount Inari, and there are literally thousands of these gates. Each one has writing on the side. They're the names of the families or businesses who donated them. Along the way, you'll find little side shrines and stone fox statues. Foxes, or kitsune, are thought to be messengers of Inari, the god of rice and prosperity. You'll see them everywhere here, often with keys or scrolls in their mouths. Just a few tips with families. Wear good walking shoes because the path goes uphill and can be steep in places. Bring water, especially if you're visiting in summer like we are here. And you don't have to go all the way to the top. It can take 2 to 3 hours. Even going halfway gives you the full experience. There's a spot called the Yotsuji intersection about 30 minutes up where you can stop for amazing views over Kyoto. If you're short on time, that's a great place to turn around. For us, this was one of the highlights of Kyoto. The kids loved weaving through the gates, touching the wood and spotting the fox statues. It was such a calm and beautiful way to start the day, something we'll always remember. And the best part is that by the time we were finished, buses of tourists were just starting to arrive. We had already enjoyed the shrine in peace and could move on to the rest of Kyoto before the crowds hit. So after finishing up at the Fushimi Inari around about 8 AM, we met our driver messaging through WhatsApp to confirm the pickup spot. It was so simple. He pulled up in a huge 10-seater van, air conditioners, black, spotless, and so comfortable. With kids having that space and cool air in the middle of summer, it was a lifesaver. The streets here are so narrow and the traffic actually shares space in ways you'd never see back home. At one point, we even had to stop for trains running right through the city streets. Kyoto is massive and all the main attractions are spread out. So driving between them, it just really showed us just how big this city is. You need a car. If you want to see the main highlights of Kyoto in just one day, we just can't recommend enough getting a driver. They'll drop you off, park, and then they'll use WhatsApp maps to coordinate a pickup point. It just works. Honestly, if we relied on trains and buses, we would have been lucky to see maybe 3 attractions, I reckon. With a driver, we fit in so much more with way less stress. Our driver dropped us off at the bottom of the hill, and from there, we walked up a long street lined with shops. At just after 8, most of them were still closed though. They don't really open till around 10 AM. So it felt like almost we had the whole street to ourselves. As we climbed higher, we were met with stunning views. The entrance opens up with stacks of staircases leading past this beautiful pagoda. From the top, you can see sweeping bushland views, and across the valley, another pagoda peeking through the trees. As we made our way through the temple, we found a walkway lined with hundreds of bells, and of course, we couldn't help ourselves, we had to give them a tap. The gentle soothing sound filled the air, and it's such a calm and peaceful moment. Further along, we came across a small lineup where people were testing their strength with these 3 heavy iron weights. The challenge is to lift them up almost like a monk's trial of discipline and strength or something like that. I didn't know really what they were, but a lot of fun, and the kids wanted to have a go. I tried too, but I had no chance with the middle one. As we made our way closer to the main hall, we passed a serene Buddha statue before reaching the famous deck. This is the iconic view of Kiyomizu-dera, the stage of the temple perched over the hillside. Once we admired that view for some time, we started heading down the stairways. We stopped at the Otowa Waterfall, where visitors line up to drink from 3 streams of water using long-handled cups. Each stream is said to bring a different blessing: success at school, good health, long life. The kids love trying it, and it's a tradition that's been part of this temple for centuries. Drink it. That's it. Put it back. After leaving the temple, we walked down through the historic lanes toward Hōkan-ji Pagoda. This whole area feels like stepping back in time. Narrow stone streets, traditional houses, and that picture-perfect pagoda rising above the rooftops. It's one of the most photogenic parts of Kyoto and a perfect spot for family photos. There was this little rumour the kids laughed about, and I'll tell you what the superstition is. The superstition is actually, if you trip here, you'll one day return and visit again. Not a rumour that if you trip over, you will die. That is just fake. From there, we met our driver at the bottom and took about a 25-minute drive across Kyoto to Kinkaku-ji, the Golden Pavilion. This is one of the city's most famous landmarks, and seeing it for the first time is breathtaking. The gold reflection across the water, it's even more beautiful in person than in photos. On top sits a golden phoenix watching over the temple, but don't worry, it wasn't our phoenix. The setting is calm with the shimmering temple surrounded by gardens and the pond reflecting every detail. It really does feel like something out of a painting. Considering it was like 37 degrees here that day, this place actually gets snow. It's just amazing. On the way out, we found a little ice cream stand, perfect to cool off before heading back to the car. For us, this was a quick stop because we were on our way to the monkey park next, which is where things didn't quite go to plan. So our driver took us another 20 minutes across town and dropped us at the bridge near Arashiyama Monkey Park, also known as Iwatayama. I can't get it right. This is where Kyoto really taught us a lesson. Cash is king. The kids were hungry and the monkey park required some cash for entry. We thought, no worries, we'll just find an ATM. But we were so wrong. Peter and I ended up walking for over an hour before we finally found one at the station, about 20 minutes away. By then, we'd lost a huge chunk of our day. Something had to give, and unfortunately, it was going to be the bamboo forest. We chose to skip it and head straight up the mountain to see the monkeys. So the hike up to the park is no joke. It's about a 20 to 30 minute climb. And I even say there's, you've got signs about heat stroke along with little misting fans and vending machines to keep people cool. By the time we got to the top, we were exhausted. It is not for the faint-hearted. It is a tough walk, and if you're older or a little bit overweight, take your time. The reward was worth it. The kids were all smiles as they fed the monkeys and got really close to them. It's an amazing experience being surrounded by wild monkeys while also getting that incredible view of Kyoto. And yes, the monkeys are fed behind a cage, but outside they're roaming around your feet, and they'll often be playing in the water and things like that. On the way back down, we passed people still making the climb. We tried to encourage them, you're close! Or sometimes, well, you're not quite there yet. It really is a solid walk and hike, depending on your pace. This day really drove home. Two big lessons, right? Carry plenty of lots of cash in Kyoto and don't try to do too much. Our early start at Fushimi Inari was perfect, but by the afternoon, the combination of long distances and our cash mistake caught up with us. If we could do it again, I'd choose Arashiyama and the bamboo forest over the Nintendo Museum. But the kids still loved it, so no real loss, but I wish I'd seen the bamboo forest. So our last stop of the day was the brand new Nintendo Museum. Getting tickets here isn't easy. You have to enter a lottery first. If you miss out, your only chance is to jump online the day the tickets are released to try your luck. In my case, my sister got picked in the lottery and managed to score tickets. Good on her. For me, It meant waiting an entire month until the release date, then waking up early and stressing out until I managed to grab matching tickets for the same day. Honestly, it was a bit of a nightmare, and it stopped us from being able to properly confirm our route with the driver in advance. Once inside the museum, it really was awesome. I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy, Sega fanboy, all of that sort of stuff. We got to play a stack of different games, check out every era of Nintendo history, and even explore the company's roots before video games when they made traditional Japanese board games and playing cards. They had everything from the NES, the Game Boy, Super Nintendo, GameCube, Wii, everything. Even the new Nintendo Switch 2. It was like walking through the entire history of gaming. Unfortunately, no photos or videos are allowed inside, so we only managed to sneak a couple. That's why you won't see much footage of this part of the day. So in the end, it was a lot of fun, especially for the kids. You know, these big controllers, these classic games. I spent a lot of time with Mario and the pinball game and, you know, Super Punch-Out. But it was stressful with the ticket process, the long distances in Kyoto, and how late we were running. I would probably, if you weren't really big into Nintendo, I'd skip it if we did this day again. If you're planning your trip, I'd suggest using that time for Arashiyama and the bamboo forest instead that we got to miss. But remember, grab lots of cash and bring it with you. You do not want to enter Kyoto with no cash and waste hours trying to find some. So that was my only tip. You can do Kyoto in a day. It is possible, and we believe, you know, do a day trip from Osaka. It's worth it. So that's the end of our day trip to Kyoto. If you've enjoyed this video or found it helpful for planning your own adventure, please make sure to give it a like, and more importantly, subscribe to the channel. That's all I ask, and it really helps us keep making these family travel guides. In our next episode, we're heading to Hiroshima and the stunning Miyajima Island. Another incredible day trip from Osaka by bullet train. You don't want to miss it. See you next time.